All right, and we are live. Hey, everybody, it's Jason Blaha. I thought I would sit down and do a live for you guys and gals. This one might be a hair earlier than some people expect. Don't always do them at the same time. I do them when my schedule and everything allows for it. So, again, veins are on point today. You got the veins. And speaking of veins, speaking of conditioning, let's talk a little bit about conjugate. Something I kind of said while doing some of like my morning walk today in that live. It's a lot of stuff I got right in my conjugate days. I mean, I was producing some real big, real strong lifters. I was doing more powerlifting coaching, less gen pop than I do now. And of course, I was training that way. And my squat and my deadlift climbed. My bench got stronger as I did more bodybuilding, obviously, which makes sense. But, there's a lot of things that I realized when I look back that I really got right. And I'm starting to see certain elements of it reflecting back over into what I'm doing currently. And I would say the biggest one of those would be the general physical preparedness, because as I have continued to work on my GPP, right, which has been really weight vest walking, doesn't that count as general physical preparedness, right? That counts as GPP. I think it's fair to say that does, because it's not sport specific. It's just general conditioning. There's a mild resistance component. It just kind of gets you into shape, right? And Louise Simmons always told us this, right? And I used to repeat that. And I've learned as I allowed my GPP to go down that I've watched clients and other people who I've worked with who have really high levels of general physical preparedness. It absolutely affects what you can do in the weight room, okay? Lifelong athletes and people who have a high level of conditioning can handle way more training volume. And it's the same thing. Like, look at what I've been doing with my training volume. Once I added all the fasted cardio back in, I've gotten my general physical preparedness way back up, right? What's happened? My ability to tolerate high volumes of training has increased. Because remember, at one time, I was doing fairly high volume 7 days a week, right? While still running a max effort type rotation. It took me 7 months to overtrain, 6 or 7 months to see any signs of overtraining. That's when I first got my deadlift up into the 600s, first time since my 20s, right? The entire time I've been here, I was competing everything else and was in the fives, and I finally broke sixes. It was during that time period I got my squat wall up into the 500s. And I've realized a lot of what I was doing back then, even though I'm doing all the bodybuilding stuff now and physique, I can start incorporating more of that towards the lower body, right? I think that I should. A lot of the things that I got right. The GPP, I mean, I'm just seeing it myself. I'm watching it happen in real time. Of my ability to handle high volumes of training is just going up. And I mean, keep in mind, I'm training fasted. I'm training on low carbs. And yet, we're averaging at least 20 sets of muscle group. On average, some of them get less, some get more. Right? It's an average week. Training 6 days a week. So there's something to be said for that enhanced recovery. The same thing I've pointed out with, you get a lot of people who they can't replicate performance set to set. And I'm noticing as I get into shape that I can. I mean, take for example, we'll just watch the back work today. Did I lose any reps? Even though the sets where you could tell they were hard sets on the first set, I still didn't lose reps on any of the 4 back exercises I did today. Then I got to the curls and everything and was able to maintain most of those till kind of near the end. The preacher curls, I know I lost a rep. Incline curls, I'm not sure if I did or not at the very last set, but all the back work, it stayed there. But the incline earlier, like last week, right? I hit on my 3rd set, I hit a lifetime rep PR, right? Right. So, that's the point. I have seen the ability to increase work capacity. Hey, William, I started doing the incline curls that I was talking about. You can see some development. Yeah, I mean, it's coming along. I mean, it's not just the incline curls, it's everything I'm doing. But my arms do need the most work. I mean, realistically, because I neglected my biceps so long, they need the most work. And so we are going to push them harder. They're going to be a biggest priority, just arms in general. That's why I have 2 arm days, right? That's why we have 2 arm days right now. I do biceps at the end of my back workout, and then I have a full arm workout, several days later in the week. at the moment. Whereas in most of the muscles are only getting one, chest, back, quads, all that stuff. Because that's really all they need, just 15 or so really good sets for those 12 to 15. And I can say that for back, but I get so much back carryover because all the pullovers, deadlifts, other stuff. So it's just 12 direct sets. But those are things that I got right with the conjugate. How about the box squats at good mornings? Look how when I got super strong at good mornings, look what happened to my squats. And didn't I tell people that Louis Simmons always says you'll always be able to squat more than your good morning. So just get your good morning crazy strong. And I got my good morning to 550, and I could always squat at least whenever I could good morning plus some, right? Box squats, they carry over. They teach you to get certain power out of the bottom from that dead stop, right? So things that I probably need to start slowly working back in. I want to start working good mornings back in. I was known for that years ago. Everyone was like, Blaha loves good mornings. Alec, we know I'm not going back to conjugate. I'm going to keep, Alec, my goal is bodybuilding and physique for the most part. But there were things I got right with the conjugate that we can carry over into that. And I do think, we're seeing it now, are we not? I'm doing the GPP every day. My conditioning level is getting pretty good. My work capacity is good, and it's carrying over to my ability to do hypertrophy work. But no, I'm not. I don't know why anyone interprets something like as you're going back to conjugate. I'm not powerlifting right now. How many grams of protein are you consuming? I was doing 350 to 400. I'm gonna scale back to about 250. I don't think I need more than 250 or so. That's going to be my target. I mean, I'll go over that some days, but as of like today, I'm just shooting for 250. I'm eating mostly fat now. I feel like I do better in terms of my GI tract if I focus on certain types of fat. So a lot of it's just going to come from whole dairy. Kind of what I'm doing. Avocados, lots of avocados. I'm going to do 2 or 3 avocados every day. All right. I've already had 2 today. So pretty much what I'm doing. And I eat around 3,600 calories, ballpark, maybe a little more is normal for me. Not stopping me from getting leaner, getting the veins. But I do think that I also need to start incorporating good mornings and stuff again. I'm probably going to try to work some in tomorrow, right? I want to work some good mornings in tomorrow. Oh, also a quick reminder for those who do not follow the Facebook page, please follow me on the Facebook page if you guys would reach over and do that. I appreciate it. So no, Alec, I don't know why every time it comes up, people are always like, "You going back to conjugate?" It's like, no, I'm not. I have no intention of going back to conjugate. I'm not powerlifting at the moment. I'm chasing physique. But Alec, no. Let me be clear, and I state this over and over and over and over and over and over. I run 2 different approaches as far as diet advice for clients go. I either recommend them do high carb, low fat, or low carb, high fat. And I've been saying that a long time. I don't, and it's okay. Maybe that's okay. Maybe you weren't aware of that. I've never flip-flopped on that. For clients, I recommend one of those 2 approaches depending on what they're doing. And I literally have clients right now doing both. I had clients doing both a year ago. I had clients doing both a year before that. They're both viable strategies depending upon what you're trying to do with tolerances, goals. Okay, does that make sense? And that's pretty much what we're going to do. Like, I'm just going to continue to promote that. Although there may be stuff moving forward. I am anti-keto. I don't do keto now. I mean, you can call it keto, but it's not what people are doing. My problem with what people are doing with keto is all the butter and bacon. I don't have a problem with steak and eggs as long as vegetables are sufficient and you keep fiber high. It's the issue is people are going into these crazy directions. Plus, we do need to keep up with the data on some of this stuff as far as health. There are a lot of things with certain saturated fats that are not elevating LDL. Some do, some don't. So the problem is that when people treat keto the same way they treat vegan, as if all carbs are bad and all saturated fat is good. And that's not how it works. That's not rational. All right. So again, understand the difference of what we're talking about. So no, I'm not promoting any sort of, like you would think of as this dirty, weird thing people are doing as keto, where there's protein is not super high. And the whole bacon and butter thing is the problem. That really is the issue. And for some reason, the people in those circles can't get their head around the idea that those are junk food. Right? That's what the problem is. If they were saying, hey, I eat steak, eggs, and broccoli and avocados, that would be great. But they're not. Therein lay the problem. Therein lay the problem. And we run into the same problem for people when people do the really high carb, low fat approach, which can be a fantastic approach. How many of them jump up? So then, well, since fat's the problem, all carbs are good, and before long they're adding table sugar, refined sugar, all this garbage to their diet that we shouldn't be eating. And that's, again, the problem. That's the problem, is that people take these categories of food and everything in that category is good and bad, instead of saying, hey, all this refined junk shouldn't be in my diet, whether I go high carb or low carb. Okay, that's the problem. Instead of focusing on eating whole foods, well, butter's not a whole food. Bacon's got its own set of problems. Refined sugars are not whole foods. So if someone is doing, say, a high carb approach, I'm thinking brown rice and sweet potatoes. Hey, William, you're saying you've never had to diet, but how healthy are you? And that's what we're also talking about here too. I mean, plenty of people get shredded on the garbage keto diet version. Are they healthy? And the answer is probably not. Alec, I've used both. It's not just a recently. Think about how many times I've rotated through those type of diets over the years. Or what are we going to even count as recent? I mean, really and truly think about how many times over the past decades, let's say even before YouTube, that I've used both approaches. Do you see what I mean? So you can't jump and say you made a recent, well, was it recent this time or recent a year before, or the year before, the year before, the year before, the decade before, or the 15 years before, or the 20 years ago? What was the issue? Gastrointestinal distress and not looking lean enough. It's holding water in my waistline. I'm shirtless on camera and I have to get leaner. My business benefits from me looking leaner and tighter more and more over time. That's an enormous factor. And I can tell you, when I ran the really high plant-based, I struggled the most with appetite. I struggled the most with recovery in my training too. That was the big problem I ran into. When I dropped the animal protein too low, no matter what I did with it, I noticed my recovery suffered a little bit. And I'm not saying plant-based cannot be super healthy. It can be super healthy. Absolutely can be super healthy. For me, the issue was a training performance and recovery side. That was the biggest factor there. Health-wise, though, it can work great. And John, you're right, exactly. And that's the whole point. So again, what we're seeing here, we need to see more of this. That would benefit my business and my outreach, probably more than just about anything I do at this point in the game. So work with the dietary approaches that are going to allow me to do that. And look at the volumes I'm getting. I mean, so if we want to argue about performance in the gym, look how my training volumes, look at the weights I'm putting up while getting leaner and doing the conditioning I'm doing. So, I mean, realistically, I feel like the current dietary ideas are working pretty good for that for me. And some of it's by observing other people. Like I've watched other people I know who as long as their conditioning is on point. John, I can't get that low. I would have to sacrifice enormous amounts of muscle. All right, John, what do you think I weigh right now? Okay, you see all the veins. You see that I do need to tighten up more. Like, is a serious question. You're telling me you think I need to get there and walk around at that weight? What do you think I weigh right now? You think I'm only 200 pounds? You guys think I'm 180? What? Dude, I'm 212. On the scale this morning, I'm 212 pounds with my shoes off after peeing first thing in the morning. Yeah. Yeah, I'm 5'9". So I was 212 this morning. Okay. And you see, so you're sitting here talking about, and look at my face and the veins. You're talking about dropping even to 170. You're talking about 42 pounds. And to walk around that way, you're not even talking about a peak week for a show, because to being there meaning I need to stay there. Right? How much muscle do you think I'd have to lose? That's not a good recommendation. Hey, William, I'm 5'9" real, which means 6 foot in internet steps. Right? So I'm the same height as all the influencers who claim 6 foot in their bios when I meet them in person. I've realized that Gen Z has no idea what their actual height is. I've come to realize this. They've never measured it. Yeah. Right. So, 180 might even be too low, Alec. I don't think I need to be 180. I mean, really, from where I'm at now, think about even dropping to 200. That's 12 pounds. 12 pounds of fat. That's over a gallon. That's 1.5 gallons of fat. I think I'd be there at 200. If it's not water. Right? So therein lay the point. So I'll probably go under 200 then. But I'm also gaining muscle. Right? So if we gain more muscle on top of it in recomposition, you'd be in an even better place, because the arms and everything have to come up. Right? Yeah, no, John, definitely not. So, all right. So, I mean, put me in, so you figure I'm similar height to, say, Frank Zane, and look at how you look at even heavier body weight than that. Right. So, yeah, you guys are talking about 165 is crazy small. I've met influencers from YouTube who were shorter and 165 at events, and I pretty much mocked them. Like that's no. I mean, they look good by themselves on camera in terms of size. A lot of those guys wear shoes that make them taller, but most bodybuilders are short. It tends to go with the territory. Right. That's what makes them look stacked. All right. But let's talk about some other, everything's been about me here. Let's talk some other training and nutrition, guys. I'm here to answer your questions and help you guys too. It's not just about me. No, it's not easier. William, if that was true, then why are guys like 400 pounds, like half Thor? If being short made it easier, it's not. It's not easier to gain muscle. It's easier to look thicker in a picture. A 6'5" guy gains muscle way faster than a 5'6" guy. He has more frame to spread it across. He's just not going to look as proportionately thick when you take a photograph. he's going to be bigger. I mean, he's going to grow way faster. Right? Bigger frame means you gain muscle faster. This isn't even a point of contention as far as I'm aware. Again, the short guys look thicker. So they have shorter limbs and stuff. They're more compact. Like Kai Green's like 5'5" or whatever he is, 5'6" in person. I've met him. Yep, shorter arms, higher bench. So you see even what my bench looks like arch. That's the ultra wide grip. So this week, if you watch that 325 rep set, that's with an arch and grip all the way, index fingers on the rings, and I still have this enormous range of motion. Right? John, I don't know yet how long I'm going to run it. I'm going to run it till I feel like I've got a sufficient number of slots. Right. No, I've never talked to Kai Green. I've been a foot away from him, but no, I didn't talk to him. I had no reason to talk to him. I just bumped into him at an event, and I got stuck right behind him in a queue somewhere for something for a couple minutes, like 2013 or whatever, 2014. I thought a wide grip is bad for shoulders. No, not necessarily. You know what's bad for shoulders? Right? Not stacking your wrists. Having the bar back here in your hand on the bench press is bad for your shoulders. Mickey C, no, I'm not. In fact, I bring it up because for some reason people on the internet have made a big deal about it, which is really weird to me. Like I've never been anything ever in my life before that. So that you sound like a troll, so this is weird. I need to quit answering questions like that. I apologize, guys. I shouldn't be answering nonsense like that. All right, let's get over to real questions. John says Jason got pretty lean. Yep, we're still going through the stacking your wrist. Not necessarily, maybe not so much on the overhead press, unless it's creating internal rotation of the shoulder at the bottom. Right? Make sense? So what you're looking for is what you don't want is this. So what you're trying to do is keep it somewhat upright. Right? I can't do it correctly on camera. But what you don't want is this to happen. So again, it's what you're trying to avoid on overhead press. Who knows? Hey, John, you keep telling me to do that, and I'm about to get rid of you because I've already told you no. Bye. I told you no before. No means no. When I tell you no on something, you don't get to stay. Bam. All right. So wrist stacking, though, particularly though on bench pressing, more than anything else. That is the one where that is the number one contributor to shoulder injuries. In my experience, is guys not stacking their wrists. So what happens on your bench? So for example, right, when you're benching, if you're like this and you've got it stacked above your wrist, you're good. But when you get like this is the problem. Because that bar is back in your palm and it needs to be stacked. John, no, I don't know why you think I'm on. No, I'm doing a lot of animal stuff. I do eat an enormous amount of vegetables every day, though, anyway you break it down. John, go to follow my Facebook. Dude, I post my food. I post my grocery cart. I post pictures of my plates, my meals. It's all online. You shouldn't need to ask that. Follow me on social media, dude. Right? Follow me on social media. What are your favorite low-calorie feeling foods? I don't know. I don't know if I have an answer to that. Sorry. And here's what I would say, Ron. Why would my favorites help you? See what I mean? like people get so tied up in what foods another person they follow likes the taste of, right? Because honestly, here's what I would say, and people aren't going to like this. You're looking for filling foods because you're trying to cut. Why don't you eat foods you don't like? I would say foods that you don't particularly enjoy are probably a really good way to help you control appetite and lose weight. Foods that you're kind of like, eh. Like I kind of dislike sweet potatoes. So then when I'm eating higher carbs, I eat a lot of sweet potatoes because I'm not wild about them. And then I'll fill up on something I don't like that much. So, even if I'm going to do lower carbs, I mean, maybe like avocados is a perfect example. I don't really like avocados that much. So they're actually really good when I'm on lower carbs for cutting because they're high in fiber, they're very filling, high in healthy fats. They give me a lot of my vitamins and things that I need, a lot of my antioxidants. So they're actually fantastic because I don't like them that much. And I know that may sound weird, but that's kind of your thing. This is why people get fat. There's a hyperpalatable food, right? Um, Again, if you guys followed my social media, you would literally know what I'm eating every single week. Follow me on Facebook. You guys will see all the pictures. Because I don't update in videos all the time what I'm eating. I've said I'm doing lower carbs, so I've said that a lot lately. Lower carb, higher fat, but large amounts of plants still in there. But it's pretty heavily animal based. But I'm not eating garbage. I'm not eating bacon. I'm not eating butter. It's a lot of eggs, a lot of meat, and I'm doing some whole fat dairy and things, right? Greek yogurts. But I still eat enormous amounts of plants every day, like avocados, spinach, peppers. I eat tons of those things every single day, which you should be doing. But we come over to it's not even about health at that point, guys. It is literally looking tighter, looking leaner, body composition, my overall work capacity, conditioning, gym. Those are all factors. It's not even a question of entirely the health thing. But no, red meat isn't always directly linked, Alec. There's a lot of nuance to that, right? Depends on the type of red meat, depends on the context of the rest of our diet. And I've been trying to keep up really heavily with all the data and research on that too. So, you know, and I think a lot of what I'm doing these days too, and I'm going to have to start promoting with diet, is think about my target demographic. And most of my clients, most of my audience are going to be in the US. I have to think about our cultural context of what is also going to work to keep people healthy in the US and looking at what's happening socially, politically, culturally, and things have to fit into that context. So just be aware, I am going to be doing more of that these days. So I may push in the direction of, okay, people in America are not going to give up meat anyway. So ride the wave. Go ahead and show what animal products they can really eat lots of, how they need, what they need to eat, what they need to not eat. So again, still keeping vegetables high, getting rid of the refined sugar. So that's a big on the list. If people are going to eat significant amounts of the meats and things, they do need to moderate carbs, particularly refined carbs, and refined sugar should be zero in their diet. Like there's no place for that if you're going to eat that way. So again, you've got to look at the whole balance of your diet. You're into these conventions. I don't understand. I don't understand what you're saying, William. What conventions? All right. Bodybuilders. No, I've never been to any of that. All right. All right. So again, some of what I'm going to discuss, I think, moving forward with diet is going to have very much a cultural context. Because at this point, I'm not really pursuing a massive international audience or anything. I'm going to stay closer to my base. TKS, what? Sorry, TS, I have no idea what's causing your situation. It sounds like you need to talk to a medical doctor or dietitian. I don't know how to help you with that situation. I'm sorry. Completely outside of my wheelhouse because I don't have personal experience with that. No, William, it's probably not even hemorrhoids. Hemorrhoids don't cause that either. So who knows? All right. William, I'm not going to be opposed to going to some stuff with some bodybuilding type events coming up, but I mean the thing is, I'm keeping a lot of my business stuff completely private with what I'm doing, just for now. All right. If people don't know what your plans are, they can't sabotage them. Every successful person in the world tells you this. I've been told by multiple successful people I talk too much about my plans and it actually hurts me. I've been advised by so many people to not do that. So I'm just not going to do that. Just going to do and not talk. Do you exclusively train at home? Well, John, where do you see me train? So we come over to, I want you guys to see what I show you, and that's it. So if I trained anywhere outside of home, I obviously wouldn't want you to know about it, or I would be uploading it. Is that a fair answer? Wouldn't you be worried about blowback? No. Why would I be worried about that, Alec? That's silly. Like, that's a silly line of thought. Like, people don't think that way or worry about that. I've been to expos before. Let me see something about you now. Make sure you didn't make a new account today. Yeah, that's not how it works, Alec. That is not how things work in the real world. Because people's perspectives can change, and most people understand that. Especially when you explain the context. I feel like certain aspects of the bodybuilding world have changed since then. Certain aspects of my own attitude have changed since then. Gym culture has gotten more toxic. And I think, if anything, a lot of us need to be pushing the other direction of unifying gym culture again. I want to be someone who helps push it back in that direction. Even as someone who was a polarizing figure, I would like to see it pushed back into a more unifying, positive direction, to where we all start to understand that, look, we have things we can learn from each other. The different disciplines do have overlap. And we need to also factor in how unfit and unhealthy the rest of the world is outside of gym culture, and maybe put a focus on, rather than us fighting with each other, why don't we work on fixing some of that? Yeah. Yeah, William, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, 30 years ago, there was none of that. Solutions for uneven bench. My left side dips slightly, benching through. You need to learn to get tighter. You need to get tighter, get your wrist stack better, find better touch points. Okay. But I haven't seen your bench. This is because, again, you're describing, hey, my bench is uneven. I haven't seen your bench. This is where we come over to consultation stuff. I can give you that general advice, but without one-on-one looking at it, there's only so much I can do for you, bro. Now, I am running consultations at only $50 right now for 1 hour video calls. Like, I have one tomorrow I'm already doing. So if you want to get one of those and have me look at your benching, you want to film some of it and us to go over it and come up with some solutions, or you even do the call, schedule it while you're going to be at a gym. You can put your headphones in, you can talk to me, and I can walk you through it. I do stuff like that, by the way. So that's an option for you, Joe. If you want to message me on Facebook, maybe I will set that up and then help you through your situation. But again, understand what you were asking me without me being able to assist you directly. Only so much we can do. Right? It's only so much we can do in that case. You always have to remember that. Hey, William, I don't discuss that. Could we please not even bring that up? And you're right. No one would do that in person. They wouldn't. Thank you, Joe. So again, Joe, here's the Facebook page. Follow me there, message me there, and I'll see if we can find a way to get a call set up and help you. Like I said, I'm running a special for the whole month at $50 instead of a normal 100. Holiday specials. All right. All right. But John, I enjoy training at both. There are pros and cons to training at home, training at a gym. I ran into a period of time where it was better for me to train at home, just overall for a lot of reasons. And now I've got this pretty elaborate home gym. So I have very little reason to not train at home other than if I'm going to train with other people who I know or to visit or an event or to hang out. So that's pretty much it. All right. But again, there's pros and cons. I mean, I've enjoyed training at gyms in the past. But, would you have a way to ditch back in your training? I don't know about that. Right. Hey, John, I don't know what HFD means. You're going to have to write that out. Would you have a way to ditch back in? I've thought about it here and there, but to be fair, I almost feel that sometimes the juice isn't worth the squeeze on dips. Make sense? Not that they're not a good exercise. It's just I start looking at risk to reward. It's a slightly higher risk exercise. It doesn't necessarily have a reward. And I mean, but I would say if I really loved and enjoyed them, I would still do it. What do they call those machines with cables you can work on your whole body? I wonder how much they run. Let me see. Like a Bowflex. Dude, they're expensive. They're super expensive. We had one in the house when I used to live with my bro years ago. We had one. We got one. The bro and mine. Several $1,000s. It can be. And they're not that good. They're really gimmicky. They're super gimmicky. They kind of suck. No, they're really not that good, dude. The resistance curve is crazy on them, and you're never going to get that much resistance. Like, you're going to be shocked how little resistance it is when you have quote unquote 300 pounds on there, and then you realize you can do 200 reps on the bench press with it. And they wear out. Like, those rods don't last forever. Why don't you just get some dumbbells? I mean, if you just need some extra stuff at home, some adjustable dumbbells. John, do you have an Instagram? Telling me you don't have any social media? Because I mean, everyone's got social media. And you just made this account today. Well, William, I don't know what all you have in your setup. Do you still like the JL? Yeah, I like the JL press. I haven't been using it, but I think it's a good exercise. I mean, William, I don't know what to tell you to get through your home gym next. I mean, it depends on your goals, your needs, what all you're trying to do. That's a very personal question. What sort of space do you have? What sort of budget do you have? How much of your workout are you doing at home? A lot of questions. TJ says, Jason, do you know what doctor told me to get off my multis and fish oil before my surgery? I'm not sure. Maybe concerns with blood thinning from the fish oil. Maybe not knowing. Some multis are not always good. Depends on what's in them. You have to ask your doctor. Yeah, John, my fish on Instagram is linked here too. I have a check mark. I got a 4,000 square house. Everyone using a problem. Well, yeah, William, just build whatever you want. Just build it up over time. Yeah, farms are doing decent right now, I think. What do you guys think? Be good? It's because I've been training them. Looks good. You got to keep working. My arms in general, just got to keep hammering arms, biceps, triceps, forearms. We just got to keep knocking it out. What the arms? Yep. So still got a long way to go with the arms though. So I'm going to keep working them. Well, here's kind of what I've said with the biceps. Because I neglected my biceps so much as a power lifter, they're my worst muscle group. I'm going to hammer my arms until they are my best muscle group. John, as of last week, I have a dedicated arm day. So here's how it works. You ready? Monday, I do triceps after chest. Tuesday today, I do back and then biceps. Saturday, I have a whole arm day as of right now. No, you can't change your bicep shape. No. So I have arms on both of those days, and then I do supersets of biceps and triceps on Saturday as a dedicated arm day. So normally it's chest and triceps and then back and biceps. But then we do a whole separate arm day now as of this last week. And I'm hoping that'll also help me kind of get to that next tier with the arm development. Split. Yeah, so that way then I'm never shortchanging the chest or back by doing any of them first. And then they do get worked because most of the chest exercises do work triceps, most of the back do work biceps. So we do it that way. And then coming through with that whole separate day and just pumping the hell out of my arms with supersets back and forth. So one of them is a little more dedicated to, a little heavier progression now, and then rotating into just a pump day for the arms. And again, I feel like over time that is going to continue to work. Focusing on just a handful of exercises, so like today, I'm really pushing the strict barbell curls for a full range of motion. And then I do complementary work after. So it's like preacher curls, incline curls, stuff like that. I'm going to try to stick to a lot of band work though at the end on my Saturday pump day. So like today I did 4 different back exercises, and we did strict barbell curls. Then I did dumbbell preacher curls with trying to pause at the very bottom, and did incline dumbbells and then standing dumbbells. So I did 12 total sets for biceps today. And with all the pump work, it'll probably be like 20 sets on this weekend. I think 40, well, William, it depends on what's going on. In my case right now, it's good. Everything's recovering fine. But yeah, I feel like doing the arms that way is giving me a good rotation, and it's prioritizing my arms because they really do need to be a priority, right? I'm also prioritizing the incline work. So even for the chest day, I really just do some heavy benching, and then everything is inclined to bring up the upper chest more for overall six. So it's all incline and pullovers. Yeah, I don't know how to get the Instagram growing, John. I've never figured out the key there. I just don't know how to do it. And again, that's a whole nother probably market to tap into that I need to work on. I admit I could stand to grow that. It wouldn't be a bad thing. All right. But William, I mean, I would say it's pretty good. I hit some pretty solid benching, some PR stuff almost really yesterday, and I did triceps on Saturday. Um, so yeah, I got that incline PR. I've never hit 275 for a double, and I did it for 2 pause reps after benching this week. So I want a 315 incline. Like I feel like that's a good also goal to aim for. Best way to grow calves, tons of standing calf raises. Your GPP will help too, sled work, all that stuff. Will help your quad, help your calves, right? I get a calf pump almost just doing my weight vest walking on top of it. I think particularly on leg day, like when I've trained calves first and then I go do that walk, man, those calves start burning by that 30 minutes into the walk. Yeah, and so I feel like that one's reasonable. So as a short term, I like to get to that 315 with a good pause at 45. I don't track the miles, I track time. Anywhere, days like arm days, I only do 30, 35 minutes. Most days, 45. Some of the off days, I do over an hour. Future, that's subject to a lot of, I think cardio running is good, right? Hey, John, the fact that you're even saying something like that tells me everything. All right, bye. Get out of here, that nonsense. To be honest, not even doing a full incline can help out. I always bench my incline lately. I like the full. I'm doing that 45 degree. I like 45. What do you do when you hit a plateau? You need to gain more muscle. Be patient, get bigger. Because how do you get stronger? You either have to gain neural efficiency or you have to gain muscle. Well, future, but we're coming back to gaining muscle. But are you gaining it just from gaining body fat? If you're getting better leverages from body fat, that's not helping you gain muscle. But you're right, it will help your lifts go up if you're competing in powerlifting. If you only care about the lift itself. All right. You get older, I care about looking good. I find the same more and more too. I do a lot of machines. I mean, because I'm lazy, got to the bench the other day. So if you do mostly machines, I let you say you train at home. TJ, there's no set age where test levels decline. That is an entire extremely nuanced topic. I mean, technically, your testosterone levels start going down in your late teens. Ken, I mean, to say I didn't care or I didn't prioritize it. I mean, everyone cares to some extent how they look, but there was definitely a case in the past of it was like if you asked me what was more important, would I be okay with looking slightly worse to be way stronger? And I would have accepted that. Does that make sense? It's like, yeah, but if I get out 100 pounds on my squat, but you look worse, it's totally acceptable. But I've reached a point where I realize it's just not where the trajectory I want to go anymore, right? It's just not. Again, our viewpoints change on things over time in life. That's just the way life goes, guys. And we're all allowed to do that. And I think that's fair, right? Your life experiences and everything mold and shape you. They shape your outlook. They shape your outlook. And that's just part of growing as a person, right? Part of growing as a human being. All right, guys, we're like 50 minutes in. I'm going to go ahead and wind this down then. So I hope it's been informative. I love all of you guys and gals, and I will talk to you next time.